Yes, Kim?
Hello po, rinig po.
Yes, audible.
For me po, malaga siya i-discuss.
Hello? So, naputol ata si Kim. Let's have John first.
Yung sagot ko po ay kaya po dapat pag-aralan yung group dynamics and work teams po is para po mas maging organized po at mas maganda yung flow po ng yung magiging trabaho po.
All right. Very good. Kim? Rosana?
For me po, kaya po important na pag-aralan po yung group dynamic, pati po yung work team, para po sa productivity and para po sa ma-improve po yung communication. Ayun po yung sa akin. Thank you po.
Alright. Carl?
Sorry, nakamute po pala ako. Para po sa akin, dapat alam po natin yung mga ganitong klase ng bagay kasi po, in the workplace po, hindi ka lang naman po nagdi-deal lagi with individuals eh. Meron pong mga groups na and mga teams na i-handle mo rin po dapat as a leader, and dapat po alam mo po yung right approach kung paano mo i-handle yung individual and yung isang group. Ayun lang po.
Alright. So, tama naman ang lahat, no? And we also have to bear in mind, no? That work nowadays tends to be very complex. To the point na ang bawat project ay hindi lang typically individualized. Kundi, in order to attain some projects, ayan, you have to work in groups or teams. So before we proceed sa ating discussion for today, no? Ayan. Ano sa tingin niyo ang distinction between a group and a team? Jella?
Yung group po is coordination po siya ng efforts nila as a group. Pero pag yung sa individual members po, magkakaiba po sila ng objectives po or ng goals nila. Then yung sa team po, group of people din po sila, nag-share din po sila ng common goals nila and nag-work sila together para ma-achieve po yung gusto nilang makuha.
Alright. No? So a group is comprised of two or more individuals engaged in social interaction to achieve some goal. So dito, groups are usually work-oriented, in which the goal is to produce a product or service as put up by the organization. So, yung organization mismo, yung nag-group sa kanila in order to develop such a product. However, a team, on the other hand, is comprised of interdependent workers with complementary skills working toward a shared goal. Okay? So with a focus on having complementary skills, every team member must take accountability over their actions, and as a result, dapat ang activity ng bawat team ay coordinated. Okay? Also, yung interaction amongst teams, no? These are usually concentrated dun sa task and it must be continuous in order to be successful. But pagdating naman sa teams or group rather, no? The interaction with the members of a group is primarily aimed at sharing information in order to achieve the goals and make the right decisions. Okay? Naintindihan po ba yung difference between a group and a team? All right. No? So, to further characterize the members of a team, no? A members of a team are highly identified with their team. So malakas yung kanilang identification dun sa team, no? As in, ini-integrate nila sa sarili nila that they are a part of this team. Also, they also tend to decrease our differentiation and social distance among their members. So, even though may away sa isang team, in as much as possible, ginagawa dyan is sinusuppress yung away in order to attain the goals. Okay? So here are some important concepts underlying groups and teams, no? So number one, we have roles or the patterns of behavior that are adopted based on expectations about the functions of a position. So group roles are actually very important, no? Because ito yung magiging course of action mo. And dapat umayon ang iyong behavior base sa role na ibinigay sa iyo. Okay? So dito mo i-perform yung iyong duties and responsibilities. So kung walang role, definitely di mo alam kung alin ang gagawin mo for a group or a team, no? So underlying roles, meron tayong tinatawag na role expectations or beliefs concerning the responsibilities and requirements of a particular role. So for sure naman, no, lahat kayo, when you were assigned a role, meron kayong preconceived notions na kung alin yung gagawin mo to fulfill the goal. Okay? Pero meron din tayong role differentiation, which is a process by which group members learn to perform various roles, no? Because ang role differentiation, papasok yan kapag lumalago yung group. Because every member can become responsible for the different aspects of functioning of the group. So in other words, as they play different roles within the group, they are also performing different functions. Okay? Also, roles can be characterized as either formal or informal. So pag sinabi nating formal, ayan yung inatas sa iyo. Okay? Inassign. Pero pwede rin siya base sa inyong job description, which we will be discussing later on. On the other hand, an informal role is a matter of interaction, no? For example, sa isang group or team, you are the most creative person. And as a result of knowing that you are the most creative person, sa iyo i-assign yung mga tasks related sa mga output na kung saan kailangan ng creativity. So, you're good at this. So, apparently, you should be doing this. Okay? However, groups can also invent roles na they don't exist formally. And as a result, some of the informal roles may actually supersede or pwedeng manguna kesa doon sa mismong formal role. Nagets? Okay. Now, dito na tayo sa norms or the rules that groups adopt governing appropriate and inappropriate behavior for members. Actually, norms can either be written or informal or unrecorded. In the workplace, best reflection of a written norm is the company's handbook. So, sa mga working students natin dito, no? So, after na or during the onboarding process, di ba? Or during your first day at work, di ba usually pinapakitaan kayo ng company handbook? So, yun yung mga norms, no? Yun dapat na alam nyo. And you must consistently behave in accordance with what is written in the handbook. Pero, ang informal naman or unrecorded, it is a matter of interaction, no? Ang magandang example dito, for instance, is keeping your workspace clean, no? So, hindi man siya nakasulat sa company handbook na kailangan mong linisin ang iyong workspace. Keeping your workspace clean is a must to ensure orderliness. Right? Also, it may evolve through history because nagde-develop yung ibang mga policy sa isang company as a result of previous incidents. No, for example, yung mga gumagamit ng microwave sa office, may mga hindi naglalagay ng takip. No? So, dapat, as a result of such an incident, no, na nadumihan yung microwave or anything else, dapat, before you use the microwave, dapat may takip na. O kaya naman, wag basta-basta gagalawin yung remote ng aircon. Kundi, salary deduction. So, those are the history. Okay? So, just like norms, no? The norms in itself provide us not only with the structure and plan for our behavior, but they also play an important role in regulating our activity. Okay? So dito, through norms, we can actually further act in accordance with what is further expected from us to fully achieve yung mismong goals. Okay? But bear in mind though, that in relation with organizational culture, some of the components of a company's organizational culture may be established through norms. Okay? Now let's proceed to some of the important processes that involve group dynamics and work teams, no? So first, we have cooperation. So cooperation is actually critical to the effective functioning of work groups or teams in the organization. So again, no? To make sure that the group or team will fully accomplish its goals, dapat ang bawat members ay coordinated, and as a result, may proper cooperation between them. Okay? So under cooperation, meron tayong tinatawag na reciprocity rule, which is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So kung may member na nahihirapan sa isang task, maybe you can give them a hand so that kung ikaw naman ang nangailangan, tutulungan ka din niya. Also, underlying cooperation, nandito din ang task interdependence or the degree to which an individual's task performance depends on the efforts or skill of others. So if you don't have some of the basic skills or the necessary skills to achieve the goal, ayan, maybe you can get some assistance or be complemented by the skills and abilities of your group member. Okay? So group members also cooperate because achieving organizational goals can lead to payoffs for the individual workers in terms of raises, bonuses, and promotions. Because some of the companies truly observe the individual aspect and group aspect when it comes to providing incentives. Pero again, what matters the most is na-achieve nung either group or team yung kanilang goal bago magbigay ng individual incentive. Okay? Ayan. So, under cooperation, the organizational culture, climate, and its history can also work to encourage or discourage cooperation. So sa country natin, 'di ba? Ang norm is usually dapat marunong kang makisama. So therefore, you must be capable of cooperating with your coworkers. 'Di ba? But be mindful of the so-called social loafing. No? Because some of the members of a group, they might be pulling their weight off. Okay, so even though cooperative group members can facilitate good performance, may mga members na hindi na magpapakita ng kanilang best foot forward. So yun ang tinatawag nating social loafing. Mga pabiga. Okay? So next, we have competition. Competition and cooperation both exist naturally sa organizations, no? And they often exist side by side. Yes, you have to cooperate with your group or team, but you will also compete with another group or group member or team member. And as a result of them going side by side, organizations also tend to encourage both cooperation and competition. So competition in a work environment that requires sharing of knowledge, such as in high-tech industries, may lead to less creativity and synergy and work against organizations' goals. No, because some of the individuals talaga na they will tend to keep to themselves yung kanilang mga ideas. Kaya sinasave nila for their future productivity. Ito yung mga type ng competition na pwedeng makahinder in meeting the goals. No? And also, kasama din dito yung pagre-reward din kasi ng effort eh. Because organizations do reward effort, and as a result, it fosters a healthy competition among its members. Next, we have cohesiveness. Pag sinabi natin cohesiveness, this is primarily the attraction between the members of the organization or the group, no? Cohesiveness is what keeps you as a group together. So, ang cohesiveness pwede siyang ma-characterize based on having similar backgrounds, no? Pwedeng sabihin natin sa dito, no? Na since our country has a sense of community and you might be sharing the same location with your coworker. And kapag nagkagrupo-grupo kayo, you can be cohesive, no? Pwede rin education. Existing din ito sa mga large companies because those who came from a single university may go with one another to form a group. And pwede rin through attitudes, no? Ito yung pinaninindigan mo and so on. And as a result, having similarities with other people may eventually develop two closer ties with one another. Also, pwede rin maging cohesive ang isang group if they feel like there is an external enemy or a threat para sa kanila. Ito yung tinatawag nating we-they feeling. Okay? The presence of an external threat that may increase the cohesiveness of a group is the so-called we-they feeling. So usually, no, there are groups that tends to be insulated na talagang hindi may infiltrate because ang tingin nila there is some group or a team that will be out for them. Okay? Next, conflict. Ayan. So conflict is basically about having parties that have incompatible goals. So it may be a group or a team, but it can also exist individually. Actually, hindi masama ang conflict. No? Because it can actually be productive. So, ang conflict, siguraduhin lang natin that it should be within an optimal level. Huwag sobrang sobra. Because in extreme cases, ang outcome ng conflict is that it could lead to a variety of negative behaviors. Yung pwedeng nagsisigawan, kaya naman may name calling, ano-ano na pinagtatawag sa isa't isa. Pwedeng physical aggression, nagsusuntukan, no? Because in a conflict, there really tends to be a so-called loser in the outcome. Okay? Basically, the best determinant of whether or not a conflict is good or bad is whether it yielded positive or negative consequences, not just between the opposing parties, but also sa mismong group or organization as a whole. Okay? And these are the different sources of conflict. We have organizational structure, scarcity of important resources. Certain individuals simply do not get along with one another. Individual and group interdependence, and age. No? So bakit sa tingin niyo pwedeng maging source of conflict ang organizational structure? Anyone? Bakit pwedeng maging source of conflict ang organizational structure? Carl. Carl?
Sorry po, nakamute po pala ako.
Okay.
Sa tingin ko po, kaya po siya pwede magkaroon ng conflict. I mean, kung bakit po pwedeng maging source ng conflict yung organizational structure. Kasi naman po, alam po natin na meron pong hierarchy yung mga organizational structure. So kapag may mga information po na kailangan i-relay, madami po siyang pagdadaanan. And sometimes po, nagkakaroon po ng patong-patong yung mga ganong information, nagkakaroon po ng misunderstanding kapag masyado na pong madaming pinagdaanan yung mga information na dapat pong i-relay dun sa isang organization. Ayun lang po.
Yes, tama. So, also to add, no, organizational structure may also be a cause of having unclear boundaries between a function or division. And as a result, talagang nagkakagulo-gulo. No? Next, when it comes to the scarcity of important resources, ayan, syempre, pag-aagawan na ang pera, magamit, no? So, regardless of whether it's from a single department or division or amongst employees mismo. Next, pwedeng hindi mo kasundo yung coworker mo for no reason. And if both individual and group interdependence naman, So the greater the interdependence in a work activity, the greater the potential for a conflict. Because you have to rely on one another to be successful. And kapag hindi aligned yung paraan ninyo when it comes to working, magiging magulo lalo. Okay? And lastly, age. Sa tingin ninyo, sino ang prone sa conflict when it comes to age? A younger employee or an older employee? John.
Good afternoon po. Para po sa akin, ang mas prone po sa conflict is yung ano po, ay yung mas older po. Kasi based on my experience po, parang sila po yung laging mahilig sa comparing po, buti pa kayo, ganyan, yung mga ganun po. Kaya po nagko-cause po ng conflict po. Ganun. Thank you po.
How about Carl?
I agree po dun sa sinabi ni John Reed, pero gusto ko lang din po i-add na yung older po yung madalas na po ngayon nagkakos ng conflict in a way na kasi po sa workplace ngayon mas ginagamit na po natin yung new technology, yung advanced po, yung kagaya po ng ganito, yung pagmi-meeting po sa Teams, pagmi-meeting po sa Zoom, and minsan po yung mga older employees is hindi po sila masyadong familiar sa mga ganung bagay. So, ayun po. Thank you.
All right. Pero would it shock you both if sabihin kong younger employees tend to be prone to conflict?
Para po sa akin, sorry, sasagot po ba? Sorry.
Pero based sa research, no, younger employees tend to be prone sa conflict. Because among younger employees, syempre, di ba, very ambitious pa, no? In order to climb up with the corporate ladder. Pero, yung mga older employees naman, while valid naman yung sinabi nyo, no, that they might have issues sa ating younger employees, no, older employees tend not to engage with a conflict because they have nothing to gain from it and they got nothing to lose sa edad nila. So, yun yung basehan kung bakit younger employees tend to be prone sa conflict. Okay? So, again, nasabi ko na conflict can have both positive and negative negative outcomes rather, but also dapat siguraduhin lang natin that there is neither too much nor too little. Okay? So, here are some of the positive outcomes of a conflict. Number 1, increasing motivation and energy. No? Number 2, it stimulates creativity and innovation. So, hindi mo lang pinagdadamot yung ideas mo. Kundi you have to share it with the group or a team. And lastly, improved quality of decisions. So, kumbaga parang sa Congress, di ba? Or sa ating government, may checks and balances. So, kaya nga, di ba, pinagdedebatihan before gawing batas, ang isang batas. No? So, dito pasok yung positive outcomes ng conflict. Pero pag negative naman, a negative outcome of conflict is number 1, the reduction in cohesiveness. So you can no longer work with the members. Next, in issues in communication. So pwedeng sabihin na you are providing this person some kind of limited information because yun nga, may underlying manipulation din sa ganun. Okay? So again, neither too much nor too little is beneficial. Okay? So there will always be an optimal level of conflict, and much better, dapat ang conflict, it will lead to the goals of the organization or the group or team. Okay? Nagets po ba yung mga nabanggit? All right. So now dito na tayo sa ito pa. The Thomas Kilmann model of conflict resolution. So conflict doesn't end with the outcome of a conflict. No? So here are different ways on how we can resolve a conflict. So number 1, dominating forcing. So usually ito yung pinaka-common, 'di ba? Because ayun nga, sa isang conflict, merong mananalo, merong matatalo. So yun lang siya. No? One will win and one will lose. No? So dito yung expense of others, yun yung lose. Next, accommodation. So both parties will make a sacrifice. So kumbaga, in order to win, both has something to lose. Okay? Usually, pumapasok ang accommodation if you want to save the relationship with somebody else. So gusto mo peaceful lang kayo, maybe accommodation will be the best strategy. Third is compromise. So both parties will give something up to reach both their goals. So both parties definitely are in a lose-lose situation. Usually, ginagamit ito kapag sa bargaining. Next, we have collaboration. Collaboration naman, both parties are in a win-win situation, pero not all the time possible ito. Especially kapag yung source ng conflict ay over scarce resources. No? And at the same time, hindi mo pwedeng masatisfy yung pangailangan between both parties. And lastly, avoidance. So, sinusuppress lang yung naging away. Okay? But here, differences between both parties yung nag-engage sa conflict will still likely exist and will also affect din yung kanilang ability to work with one another. Okay? Nagets po ba yung different types of conflict resolution strategies? All right. Next, we have the concept of process loss. So all the time and effort expended on activities not directly related to production or task accomplishment. So ito yung tinatawag nating process loss. Because there might be too much time na nilalaan para sa pakikipag-usap ng bawat miyembro sa isa't isa as opposed to sinisimulan na yung mga dapat gawin in order to accomplish the goal. So, yun ang tinatawag nating process loss. Next, we have team commitment. So actually, parang similar lang din siya with cohesiveness, no? But commitment in itself is a much broader construct. Kasi pag sinabi natin cohesiveness, it is only the attraction, no, of one member to the other members. Pero pag commitment, dito papasok yung pagtanggap mo sa mismong goal ng team and at the same time, gagawin mo ang lahat para ma-meet yung goals. Okay, ano uli yung difference between cohesiveness and commitment? Again, ano uli yung difference between cohesiveness and commitment? So again, ulitin ko po. So pag sinabi nating cohesiveness, it is only the attraction of the individuals sa group. So group member, no? Because again, the basis of cohesiveness is usually the similarities between members. Pero pag sa commitment, ini-internalize niyo mismo yung goal ng team and at the same time, as you internalize the goal of the team, you will be demonstrating positive behaviors related to how hard you will work for your team. Nagets? Okay. So lastly, we have the team mental model, which is the shared understanding among team members of the task, team, equipment, and situation, no? So because kapag tayo naman po ay nag-work sa teams, no? We all have a common conception of what we are to do. And as a result, that will fully guide us to attain the goal of the of the group and even the organization. No? However, conflicts can also arise out of misunderstanding or because team members get frustrated with one another. So dapat siguraduhin din natin na there is a clear communication between members para maiwasan yung conflict kahit paano. Okay, and at the same time, iwasan yung ambiguity and role conflict, role overload. No? Para maiwasan din yung tinatawag nating social loafing na pwedeng maging source din ng stress amongst team members. Okay? So now let's answer the question, why do people join groups? No? So number one, in the workplace, the most common reason for joining groups is that employees are assigned to them. So assignment, yung unang-una. So si supervisor, pinaggrupo-grupo kayo to come up with a new product or new service. Next, pwede rin as a result of physical proximity. So, yung mga katabi nyo sa workplace, ayan, pwedeng-pwede kayong magsama-sama. And lastly, affiliation. So, lahat naman tayo, no, we have this so-called need for affiliation. Tama po ba? Ayan. Because, according dito, if we are not allowed to have the opportunity for affiliation, again, we will make the necessary measures to have a contact with someone else. No? Pero, bear in mind, no, that all of us have differences when it comes to trying to satisfy our need for affiliation. And nasa consideration na lang ng bawat manager or supervisor on how they will try to satisfy the need for affiliation. And at the same time, it is important to recognize din yung consequences related sa isolation. Okay? So, other reasons on why people join groups, no, is identification. So, kung napapansin nyo, no, sa school, di ba merong yung mga student officers, meron silang pink na polo shirt. Di ba? So, that's one way to characterize that person as being a student leader. O kaya naman sa workplace, no? Merong mga printed shirts. Kunwari, mga K-pop. Nakaprint. Pare-parehas. That is one way then to show one's identification. So next, we have emotional support. So you join a group not because you only want to satisfy your need for affiliation, but also in order to gain emotional support from your colleagues. Next, assistance or help. Usually sa schools, di ba? Kapag gusto na, kunwari, nahihirapan ang student sa math. Tapos, gustong humingi ng tulong on how they can pass the exam sa math, no? So you will definitely approach a tutoring club to really pass your exam. Okay, the last two are common interests and common goals. So if you have a shared goal with some people in the organization, you will bond with them to form a group. Okay? So nagets na po ba yung mga reasons on why we join groups? Okay. So here are different factors of what affects group performance. No? So number 1, cohesiveness. So ano uli yung cohesiveness? Who can define it in simple terms? John.
Yung cohesiveness pa is parang yung attraction po doon sa mga member po.
Yes, the attraction. Kumbaga parang glue sa isa't isa. No? It what keeps the group together. Okay? So, the more cohesive the group, the greater the number 1, performance. Next, the quality of decisions as a result of the interaction, no? And also, your satisfaction as a member. And also, courtesy with the members of the group. So, pag sinabing courtesy, ito yung nagpapakitang respeto kayo sa isa't isa. No? But bear in mind that just because cohesiveness leads to greater performance, that may not be the case all the time. Kasi gaya na sinabi dito, no? It is not always necessary for ultimate group success. Because, ayun nga, sobrang cohesive kayo, sobrang similar kayo with one another, pero ang nagiging focus na lang is yung relationship nyo with one another. And as a result, too much cohesiveness can cause members to lose sight of organization's goals. Okay? So, okay ang cohesiveness when it comes to the attempt to attain some goals, but it won't be the case all the time. Nagets? Okay. So next, we have group homogeneity. So pag sinabi natin homogeneity, ano siya? Diniscuss natin tong term na to sa psychological assessment. So pag sinabi nating homogeneity, ayan, si Kim nag-chat. The same, yes, no? Pagkakapare-pareho ninyo. But according here, group performance is best in slightly heterogeneous group. No? So dapat, we should still be open to take someone who may not be similar from us. Or someone na pwedeng magbigay pa ng other perspective aside sa popular opinion ng bawat miyembro. Okay? And in organizations nowadays, pinapractice itong pagkakaroon ng slight heterogeneity in a sense that there is a trend when it comes to DEI. Alam niyo yung DEI? Any idea about what DEI means? Yes, D stands for diversity. Ano yung E and ano yung I? Any guesses? Yes, equity. And I? Sige lang. Yes, I stands for inclusion. Okay? That is a trend nowadays sa organizations. So next factor that affects group performance is stability of membership. So dito, the greater the stability of the group, the greater the cohesiveness, no? Pag sinabi kasi nating stability, as in yung bawat member, nagsistay lang dun sa group nila mismo. And groups where members remain for long periods of time are more cohesive. Kasi, familiar na sila sa kung paano sila mag-work bawat isa. And as a result of such a familiarity, they tend to perform better than those groups na kung saan mataas yung turnover. And at the same time, dun sa mga hindi pa pamilyar sa isa't isa. Next, we have isolation. So groups that are isolated or located away from other groups tend to be highly cohesive. Okay, so therefore, being distant sa mga competition ninyo may actually play a beneficial role. And next, we have outside pressure. So the amount of psychological pressure placed on a group by people who are not members of the group. So sa lahat naman sa atin, no? Lahat tayo ay naka-undergo na ng pressure. Because there are some people in our lives who didn't believe in us. But we can actually use it as an advantage, 'di ba? To perform better. So it also applies sa group because the criticism being thrown at a group can be a form or can be used to transform the criticism into strength. Okay? Next, we have group size. So typically, groups are cohesive when they are small. No? Because, so yun nga, kaunti na lang kayo. So therefore, you have to be harmonious with one another to meet the goals. But still, it might depend on the type of task. So kapag additive yung task, or which tasks for which the group's performance is equal to the sum of the performances of each individual group member, preferably, madami kayo. Because again, it is a matter of the sum of your performances. Pero, kung conjunctive naman yung task or a task for which the group's performance is dependent on the performance of the least effective group member, ayan, dapat dito sa mga ganitong klaseng task, nagtutulungan. Because there are some tasks wherein you cannot proceed in doing this if not all the members are done with this. Okay? So hindi sa lahat ng oras, beneficial ang small groups. And lastly, we have disjunctive tasks, no, or tasks for which the performance of a group is based on the performance of its most talented member. So dito, okay ang small group in a way as long as they have a representative or pwede natin sabihin dito na hero for the group. Because yung tao na i-assign mo to do that task is someone na magaling talaga or well-rounded. Okay? Nagets yung different types of tasks na nabanggit dito? Okay, and last factor that affects group performance is group status. So, paano binu-view yung group in an organization? Mataas ba tingin sa inyo or mababa? So, kayo ba, pag kayo'y napabilang sa isang group, no? Ano ang tingin ninyo sa group ninyo na kinabibilangan? I'm sure that everyone here is or has tried, no, to inflate their group status or sa inyong paningin, mataas yung status ng group nyo over the others. Even sa reality, hindi naman. Tama ba? Okay. So such an inflation of how you perceive your group can actually influence the performance. Okay? So any questions about factors that affect group performance?
Man po.
None. All right. Next, dito naman tayo sa group decision making. So, earlier, nabanggit ko na as a result of the complexity of the workplace nowadays, no? We, in turn, are making use, or organizations in turn are making use of groups to attain some of its goals. Okay? Same din sa decision making. Because there are work decisions or important work decisions that should be decided through having groups. Because some of the decisions na pwedeng gawin can potentially have an impact sa mga empleyado mismo or even the group of employees. Okay? So here are some of the advantages and disadvantages of decision making through groups. So the first advantage is it works from a broad knowledge base. So kumbaga, hindi lang perspective ng iisa yung nagmamatter. But you are taking into consideration all of others' ideas. Number 2, decision will most likely be accepted by the members. Kasi nga, patas para sa lahat. No? Third, decision is highly critiqued. So again, papasok dito yung concept ng checks and balances. So talagang binusisi ng maigi before na finalize to make sure that whatever the decision will be, patas para sa lahat. And lastly, aspects of the problem can be divided among group members. So pwede dito, no? yung pagkakaroon ng bawat miyembro that can oversee other aspects na hindi nakita nung mismong supervisor. However, group decision making also have its disadvantages, such as number one, slow, which can be a problem in crisis situations. So kapag crisis situations, dapat you have the mental reflex in order to adapt with the situation that you're being confronted with. Next, it creates an intra-group conflict. So pwedeng mag-away-away or di magkasundo ang bawat miyembro during the decision-making process. Next, potential for groupthink and group polarization. So, i-discuss natin ito. And lastly, certain members such as leaders may dominate the decision-making process because any member pwedeng maging bida-bida sa isang grupo. Okay? So now, dito tayo sa disadvantages ng group decision making. No? So, number one, we have group polarization. And number two, we have group think. So, pag sinabi natin group polarization, this refers to the tendency for groups to make decisions that are more extreme than those made by individuals. The basic idea here is that there is a tendency for groups to take a much more risky action. Kasi 'di ba usually in organizations, there will always be instances where one will choose a higher risk. Kasi ang paniniwala, the higher risk or the greater the risk, the greater the reward. But that is not the case all the time. No? Next is groupthink, or a syndrome characterized by concurrence-seeking tendency that overrides the ability of a cohesive group to make critical decisions. So ito yung another downside ng cohesiveness. Groupthink. Ang bawat miyembro, oo lang ng oo sa isa't isa. And since given that they would like to maintain or sustain the relationship with one another, nawawalan din talaga sila ng sense of objectivity. Okay? And here are the different symptoms of groupthink. So we have the illusion of invulnerability, the illusion of morality, and the presence of shared negative stereotypes. So itong tatlong to, they represent the so-called we-they feeling. No? Or their belief that they themselves is part of a very powerful group. So the next three, we have collective rationalizations of opposing viewpoints, a tendency for members to engage in self-censorship, and the illusion of unanimity. So this actually leads the group, no, to arrive at a premature consensus. And the last two, So direct conformity to pressure may actually be applied, no? Especially sa mga dissenters. So kapag may kumukontra, ipe-pressure kagad yung bawat or yung member na kumukontra. So sasabihin dito na sa iyo na lang yung opinion mo, save it for a later time. Just to make sure na walang disagreement na mangyayari. O kaya naman, some members may play the role of mind guards. Ang mind guards, ito yung mga nag-filter ng information from the dissenter para hindi umabot doon sa leader mismo and other members yung unpopular opinion. So nagets yung different symptoms of groupthink. Okay. So how can we prevent groupthink? No? So number one, have some members who will play the devil's advocate. Yan. Next, normalize critical evaluation. Always encourage group members to think about the best possible decision regardless of time constraints. So balikan natin, no, that groupthink can possibly occur if there are time constraints. No? And it can be a matter of a premature decision. So dapat, even though ubos sa oras, we must really encourage to think of the possible outcomes or questionin yung maging potential outcome kapag ang final decision ay yung isang specific decision. And lastly, the group leader should state their point by the near end of the discussion. Okay, para at least umiwas dun sa sunod lang ng sunod sa utos or sa idea ng leader. And it is through groupthink where we can realize the power of having a productive conflict. So any questions about groupthink? Okay. So now dito na tayo sa teams, no? So real teamwork occurs when team members accept and live up to their collective accountability by actively working together so that all of their respective skills are being used to achieve team goals. So again, one main feature of a team is the interdependency of the members with one another to reach for the goals. Okay? So the responsibilities of a high-performance teams rests not only with the leader, manager, or coach, but also with the team members. So always bear in mind that team members must be interdependent. Kaya naman complementary. So if a team member doesn't possess the necessary skills, no, it is important that another member will further support the lack of skill from that member. And in organizations, there are different teams. So a cross-functional team wherein the members of this team, no, they tend to cooperate with other departments or functions para at least, no, may proper exchange of information between them. Next is a problem-solving team. So ang focus naman nito ay yung identification of threats or pwedeng opportunities in the organization. Next, employee involvement team. So ang mga issue na kinakaharap dito ay yung mga workplace issues, no? Which includes employee satisfaction or mga pwedeng mga opinions ng bawat employees, no? Next, quality circle team. The quality of output, yung focus nila. Also, we have self-managing teams. So, sila yung mga tipong wala nang pakialam sa supervision. Instead, they regulate their own. And lastly, virtual teams. So here is the criteria for team effectiveness, no? So tatlo sila. We have task performance, member satisfaction, and team viability. So pag sinabing task performance, ang focus ay hindi lang yung quantity of work, hindi gaano karami. And hindi lang sapat na good yung quality of work, but also the timeliness. Na-meet ba ng maayos yung deadline? Ayun. For example, kapag manufacturing, nasa manufacturing company, for you to be evaluated with your task performance, you must therefore meet the daily production targets. No? Pero, in the workplace, there are instances through which supervisors or the higher ups develop temporary teams, such as having a task force. No? So, ang kanilang criteria for effectiveness is definitely yung timeliness or na-meet ba yung deadline. Next, member satisfaction. So, hindi lang dun sa tasks na ibinibigay natin sa kung saan tayo ay or at a team can be characterized as effective. But also, pati sa mga members because every member should be satisfied sa kanilang task na ginawa, sa mga na-accomplish nila while they were working on that team, and at the same time, yung pakikitungo sa other members ng team. And lastly, team viability. Here, dito papasok yung you are looking forward to work with the other members in the future. Okay? So, the criteria for team effectiveness doesn't only involve the actual work, but also your relationships with the members of the team. Okay? Nagets yung tatlong criteria for team effectiveness. All right. Next, we have synergy and team benefits. So synergy is basically defined as the creation of a whole greater than the sum of its parts. So as a team, ayan, meron kayong collective efforts. And as a result of such a collective effort, kumalat siya. Nagkaroon siya ng impact across the entire organization. Okay? Next, we have the concept of social facilitation. So, di ba sa psychological assessment, yung context natin of social facilitation is the behavior between the interviewer in the interview we were in. They influence one another based on their attitude during their encounter. So dito naman, social facilitation is about the improvement of our work or output as a matter of the presence of other people. Kumbaga, yung presence ng other people gives you the emotional arousal or excitement that as a result, it stimulates you and therefore affects your performance. Okay? Nagets pa yung concept ng social facilitation? Ayun. So, actually, sa social psychology to, no? Have you had your social psychology course?
Yes po.
Ayun. So, ang naging experiment dito ay yung sa bicycle race. 'Di ba? Wherein, ayun nga, the presence of others led to a better performance. And ang opposite ng social facilitation ay alin? The opposite of social facilitation is social inhibition. So, nahihiya ka as a result of others watching you. Okay? Next, babalikan natin uli ang social loafing, also known as the Ringelmann effect. So, naalala niyo pa yung study on social loafing ni Ringelmann? So, yung study na yon ni Ringelmann on social loafing is basically a rope pulling task wherein napansin niya na habang lumalaki ang group or team, nagde-decline yung individual effort na ina-exert. So, as a result, nababawasan yung performance as a whole. So, that is the risk when it comes to having a very large team. So, dapat nasa ideal lang yung ating team members. Parang as more people are involved, yes, no? Tama. So, dapat nasa ideal or optimal amount lang ang number of team members. Kundi, kapag sobrang-sobra na, they will tend to slack off. So, mababawasan yung effort. So any questions about social facilitation and social loafing? All right. And dito na tayo sa last part ng ating discussion, which is the stages of team development. So number 1, we have forming. Okay, the first stage is forming, wherein group forms and situation is uncertain and disorganized. Okay? So dito, individuals are brought together as a functional unit and they agree to the rules of conduct and goals of the team. So pag sinabi kasi natin dito that individuals are being brought together as a functioning unit, no? We tend to ask ourselves, no? The question of what are the benefits of joining this team? Kaya naman on a personal level or on a very personal level, what would be my contribution sa team na ito? So yan yung mga potential questions na mag-emerge sa inyo, personally speaking. Also, dito sa stage na to, you are getting to know your fellow members in the team. And dito din malalaman kung alin yung totoong task ng team and at the same time, yung rules na dapat ay mag-govern sa team. So after forming, dito na tayo sa storming, which is characterized by turbulence, distraction, and frustration. So here the group discovers conflict and discovers ways to keep the group focused. So hindi may iwasan yung hostility amongst members and yung fighting. So during storming, every member makes a way to understand the interactional styles with one another and also find a balance between trying to accomplish the goals of the team and at the same time, their individual goals. Next stage, we have the norming. So dito, nagkakaroon na ng proper coordination amongst group members. Okay? So, coordinated na. So may proper communication or flow and kumbaga there is some sense of harmony. Pero that sense of harmony shall be balanced with successfully working on the team tasks. Okay? So hindi lang hindi lang harmonious yung relationship niyo with one another, but try to be in sync pa din with the task that needs to be accomplished. Next, we have the performing stage. So in this stage, all members of the team are now capable of dealing with complex tasks and handle disagreements in a creative manner. And during the performing stage, the structure of the team is stable, and at the same time, the members are motivated. Motivated para ma-attain yung goals ng team. And as a result, they are satisfied with one another. Pero, the challenge is still to improve the relationship with one another, and at the same time, i-improve din dapat yung performance. And lastly, adjourning. So this is the final stage, no? Or disbanding in an orderly way. But a team doesn't adjourn right after the task na na-accomplish na. Instead, there is still a potential pa din for the members of the team to still work together in the future. So adjourning doesn't mean it's the end of the working relationship. Okay? And that's it for our today's discussion. So any questions about group dynamics and work teams?
None po.
None. Sige. What are your key takeaways sa ating discussion for today? Rosanna?
Sir, naririnig po?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yung key takeaways ko po is yung pag-aaral po ng group dynamic and ng work teams po is really important kasi po parehas pong mahalaga to kasi nakakatulong po siya na magkaroon po ng clear communication and also to achieve po ng long-term success and magiging team oriented po sa work environment, tsaka po nakakatulong po siya sa personal growth and makakatulong po siya sa personal growth at makakatulong din po siya sa pagiging professional. Ayun po, thank you.
Ayun, no? So, by the fact that, ayun nga, makakatulong din sa atin ang understanding of group dynamics as a professional, no? One of the most common concepts or frameworks na ginagamit sa workplace ngayon ay yung Great 8 competencies na na-identify ni Bartram. So maybe I can send a link to it. Just give me a minute. Kasi part na ng competencies yung pagiging natin, marunong makisama sa bawat employee or member of the organization. And in the 21st century, no? Working in teams is indeed the norm nowadays. Ayan yung nasend ko na sa chat natin, yung eight great competencies, no? Wherein you should be able to lead and decide, support and cooperate. Ayan, proper cooperation, no? cooperate for the goals, no? Interacting and presenting. So marunong makisama sa ibang tao and at the same time marunong din mag-present. And creating and conceptualizing can also be a matter of having the right group membership or even teamwork. 'Di ba? Because the goal is to be as productive as possible and so on. Okay? Actually, etong module na to, this is only an overview, no? Kasi meron ding course na intended for group dynamics. I think sa BS Psych elective lang siya pero sa amin kasi sa AB Psych nag-take talaga kami ng course on group dynamics. And our final output back then was group facilitation. So magfa-facilitate kami ng isang group activity. Any activity na matripan namin or ma-brainstorm namin, ayun. Tapos isakatuparan siya as part of our final course project. And also in Ateneo, may course on group dynamics, no? Which is a 5-year course. So medyo heavy din yung pananaw or view sa group dynamics as an important skill na dapat kahit paano ma-possess din to those that wants to work in the organizational setting. And hindi lang naman din sa organizational setting but also sa clinical din, no? Because there will be instances where you will be doing some focus group discussion. So therefore, having an understanding of group dynamics is beneficial across each setting. Other key takeaways? How about Juliana? Juliana? Sige, sige. You can type your answer. Yes. No? So, every stage of team development have its sets of challenges. And as a result, being aware of it can make us manage a team much better. No, because again, not all the time harmonious yung process. Instead, you will encounter certain difficulties to the point that conflicts will emerge out of nowhere. Okay? So, may iba pang mga questions or concerns?